Today in Luther's Kitchen, I'm making a no sugar added protein bar and some cocoa bites. To start with, I'm toasting coconut, which in the beginning seems like not much happens, and then all of a sudden it gets toasty very quickly. So be careful because you don't want to let it burn. Now I'm going to toast up some slivered almonds, and again, watch it carefully because nuts have a tendency to toast and burn very quickly. You know they're toasted when they start to turn golden brown and you can start to smell the nutty aroma. We need to moisten some dates with boiling water, so I'm just pouring over some boiling water and letting those soak for about 10 minutes. In the bowl of a food processor, we're going to start processing those slivered almonds, and we want to get them chopped very, very fine. Now to that, we're going to add the toasted coconut and again continue to process until both of them are very, very fine. Now I'm putting that mixture into a plate. This is going to be the coating that the cocoa balls are going to be rolled in. Now we're going to add the hydrated dates. We've removed the water to the bowl of the food processor, and we're adding some other dried fruit. So in this case, we're using some unsulfured dried apricots, but you could use whatever you have on hand, raisins, prunes even, dried cherries, cranberries. To that, we're putting in some cocoa powder and just a couple pinches of salt. And then we're going to add in toasted pumpkin seed. So same pan that I was toasting the coconut and the almonds, I just toasted the pumpkin seed. And now we are going to pulverize that until a dough starts to form. If your mixture doesn't come together in what resembles more of a dough consistency, you may need to put a little bit of water. Start with a tablespoon of water at a time. So now you can see I'm using tiny scoopers. These are the kind that you would use for chocolate truffles. And I'm just scooping and rubbing the mixture in between my hands to get a nice circle. And then I am putting that coating on the outside. That is the crushed toasted coconut and almonds. And there are my little cocoa bites. Now we're going to make a protein bar, and we're going to start with some whole almonds, again toasting them, being very careful not to let them burn. Then we're going to toast some pumpkin seeds. These are unsalted, and we're just trying to give them a little bit of color, followed by some cashews. So again, make sure you're checking and watching because nuts and seeds burn very quickly. It's time to hydrate some dates, so I'm pouring some boiling water over the dates, and I'll let those sit for about 10 minutes just so they get nice and plump. I may have to use a little bit of that liquid too to moisten the bars. I'm going to use a 9x13 inch baking sheet pan, but I'm lining it with a piece of parchment paper just so it's easier to pull the bars out and cut them. So I'm just cutting around a standard parchment paper sheet so it fits inside that 9x13 inch pan. Now we're going to pulverize in the bowl of a food processor the toasted almonds, followed by pumpkin seeds and cashews. And you want to make sure that mixture is really, really fine ground, almost to the point of it becoming a paste. Now we're going to add those hydrated dates in. Now we're adding in some cocoa powder, which gives it that chocolatey flavor and antioxidant properties, some kosher salt. We're going to also put in some pumpkin pie spice and some hemp protein powder. Now I was trying to find egg white protein powder and I couldn't find it at Trader Joe's, but they had hemp protein powder and I decided I'd give that a whirl. I'm also going to put about a tablespoon or two of that reserved liquid from the dates. And now it's time to pulse away. You can also add another dried fruit. We're adding some golden jumbo raisins just for another layer of sweetness. And we're going to continue to pulse this until we get a nice paste that forms. Time to dump all of that mixture onto the parchment lined baking pan. And we're gonna use an offset spatula just to press everything in place and to make sure that it is a nice even layer, and we're trying to get corner to corner so we can cut up some pretty nice bars. We're putting this in an oven that's about 225 to 250 degrees, really low temp. And you wanna leave it in there for about 35 to 45 minutes. You're just trying to dry it out a little bit. And then afterwards, let it cool before popping them out and cutting them into bar shapes. These will keep wrapped in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. You can also wrap them individually and freeze them. They're super healthy and they have no added sugar, and they pack a lot of protein. For this recipe and more, visit myclasscancook.com.